Welcome to the Overcome Depression podcast. It is a beautiful Thursday, and it has been a doozy of a week. Let me tell you, I've got to finish my taxes. I'm headed to Utah for a funeral of a dear, dear friend tonight. So I'm really grateful that Heather O'Brien has given me permission to use the interview that I did with her, where we talk about the struggle that Christians have, especially when they're doing everything they're supposed to do and still not getting the healing that they wish they had, and wondering, why? Isn't God a God of miracles? Why isn't he healing me? Am I doing something wrong? We are going to talk in depth about this topic, as well as how I finally overcame depression myself. So without further ado,
welcome back to the Heal with God podcast. Each week we explore a new theme for healing. I'm your host, Heather O'Brien, and today we're going to be talking about whether your body could actually be blocking your healing. Now stay with me. I want you to know that you can actually discern depression triggers, and I have a guest with us today, Jennifer Stirling-Campbell. And if you love Jesus, but you still feel heavy, tired, emotionally flat, or maybe you even already know what the problem is, but you want freedom, and you feel like something keeps holding you back from that. Today, we're going to talk about that. Maybe the mistake is that we are thinking, if I just pray harder, I'll feel better. But we're actually ignoring our nervous system. We're actually ignoring our hormones or our sleep or our stress load, maybe even your environment. And today, we're going to talk about all of that, that we actually need healing in all of the different parts of our life. And I want you to question this. What if the reason you can't snap out of it isn't because of your faith? It isn't because you're weak, but it's because your body is waving a flag and it's asking for a little bit of discernment. Today, we're going to be talking about how to spot the triggers, how to hear God clearly, and what's really going on, and partner with Jesus on that healing journey. So welcome, Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here. We're so looking forward to this conversation.
yes, thank you for having me. And I feel like our podcast aligns so well. Mine is Overcome Depression for Christians Struggling with Faith.
Uh-huh.
And literally that's what you're all about.
Yeah.
And when I was sick, which was 25 years sick from the time I was little tiny kid sick, didn't know the difference, had never felt anything else, depressed, angry every single day. And I hated myself for it because I thought that was who I was. And I didn't know how to escape the triggers and escape the repeated patterns. And I would continually say, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do that again. And sure enough, I would. And
Mm.
I was hurting my family. I was hurting my relationships when I got married. I hurt my spouse. My children suffered because of my anger and depression, or the anger and depression. I don't like to say my,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
don't want to identify it. But it was like hell every day, and it felt like it was a losing battle, that I was just kind of treading water, and eventually I would drown, and then someone would pull me out again, and I'd be treading again, and then I would go under. And it because there was a point at which I always lost it.
Mm.
I could control it for so long, the
Yeah.
anger I'm talking about,
Okay.
and then it would just take over.
Uh-huh.
And it was like I was a third party watching myself lose control and being like, stop, 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 stop. And I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
It
So
was
what you're
horrible.
talking about is you were trying to manage this anger, manage and suppress it basically, but not,
Mhm.
you weren't actually getting healed from it. I can
No, and
identify.
I was doing all the stuff. I mean, I was trying to do all the things they say to do when you have anger management issues, like leave the room or break something that's okay to break, tear up paper, yell, scream into a pillow. It just didn't seem to matter.
Uh-huh.
And the depression was intense. It was very intense. And I spent all those years running from it, in the sense that I became a cross country runner. And they say that exercise can help. It did. I felt like my mood was improved a little when I was running. I was insanely busy, so busy that I couldn't think, couldn't really have a relationship outside of my own family. And that was kind of almost my protective barrier, that if I'm this busy, then no one can actually get to know me or see that side of me that I don't want anyone to have to experience or see.
So
And
when you look back, so you're mentioning depression, you're mentioning anger. Do they work in tandem together? Like, were
oh yeah,
you angry because you were depressed, or were you depressed because you were angry and couldn't get free of that? It was like a cycle that goes back and forth.
Yeah, I want to say that anger was probably the driving force. It's a pretty powerful negative emotion, and it took me until about 25 when I started to lose hope in my ability to manage this and realize that if I didn't get off the drugs, it was going to destroy me, which I was taking Prozac at the time. And long story short, I was like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. I am done trying. God fix it. I can't do this. I
Uh-huh.
can't.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm damned either way. It's just
Would
you you
were you
have to
having
get me
like
out of this. You made me, so fix me.
right? I feel you, honey. I went through the same thing. I was on the depression medicines for 7 years, and I'm basically then I was numb. I was a zombie.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
wasn't like high. I didn't have high emotions or low emotions. I was just
Yeah.
I don't know. I was in la la land, is what I remember coming out of a fog when I started. I decided to quit taking the medicines, and I was the same way. I was like, I need to figure out why I ever needed these medicines. And I wish I had asked that question so much sooner. What made you decide that this was your stopping point?
When I learned the side effects long term of the medications I was taking,
Uh-huh.
basically that zombie, I don't care, kind of solidifies and changes your brain so that as you get older, you don't care about anything.
Mm,
And that was kind of the case when I took them anyway. But I went from being out of control to I can control myself. So this was the better of two evils until I started learning that. And then I was like, oh no, I'm a very motivated and passionate person. I'm not going to let this happen to me. There must be a reason I'm motivated and passionate. I just don't know what it is.
mm,
I felt that I really felt like God loved me. And I always knew deep down that I was worth something. And I didn't understand why this was happening or how to change it. And I thought maybe I'll be this way for the rest of my life. But at that point, I was like, oh no, 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 no. This has got to change. And it has to change now. I also felt this urgency like, if things start getting really bad in the world, and this was when I was 25 and I'm 42 now, and I can't get the medication that keeps me sane, what's how am I going to be able to serve God at all or help anyone at all if I'm losing my mind? Like, I have to figure this out
yeah,
so that I'm not dependent on this thing. And ultimately, we're talking years after 25. So the kind of initial breakthrough happened at 25, but years down the road, because you asked about what was kind of the driving force, I realized that there was a very, very angry ancestor who had been attached to me probably from the time I was born and wasn't me, but I would feel this initial irritation at things that would happen, followed by this rage. The irritation was me, the rage was him.
mm,
And it took some friends with some very special gifts to see that finally because they were trying to figure it out
uh-huh,
in my
uh-huh,
behalf because I was really struggling.
uh-huh.
My life was kind of falling apart around the time these friends kind of came out of the woodwork, people I'd known from as a child, and were like, "Hi, God said you need help." And they started like
Thank you,
almost every day
Jesus.
calling me and being like, "How you doing?" And because they were trying to figure out spiritually what's going on with her.
Uh-huh,
Is this her fault? What did she do? What
uh-huh.
is this thing I'm feeling? And eventually realized it was this really mad ancestor. And so at that point, it was the spiritual journey of overcoming some of my own temptations at the time, which were severe, and turning to God and seeking help from those who were able and willing to help me with some energy work, who used God and Christ, as well as just friends who were there when God told them to help me
Yeah,
and lead me through this so
so
that
good.
I could release this ancestor and move forward at all because I with him there it was just like I was stuck
Yeah.
and I didn't know
Okay.
how to overcome that.
I got so many questions here. So we got to pause for just a minute. Number one, you were a Christ follower all this time,
Yes.
or when did you get
Oh
saved?
yeah. And wasn't it was so discouraging because I'm like I'm doing all the things that are supposed to bring happiness. I'm
Uh-huh.
obeying the commandments. I'm I'm reading my scriptures, saying my prayers, and I think that's what almost led me down a dark path of making really poor choices because I was losing hope. And I
Mm,
was just like, I just want to be happy at this
yeah.
point when I was about 25 to 30.
Uh-huh.
30 was kind of the breaking point where I was like, maybe this lifestyle would be better because I've been miserable for so long.
Hmm.
I can't take it anymore. And that was around the time everything started falling apart. My marriage was falling apart. And again, my friends were coming out of the woodwork like, hi, God told me to call you. And
Mhm.
I knew they were sent by God to help me.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's
without
so
them, I
good.
would have failed.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Crash and burn failed. And I almost did. And there was a miracle that occurred that I talk about in my own podcast that prevented me from making the choice that I wanted to make and gave me the time to make a different one. And I will be forever grateful for that and for the people who intervened. But even at the time, I was like, "How dare you?" But at the same time, I was relieved
yeah,
because my prayer at the time was, "I'm going to go through with this thing that I know is wrong," and it was the first thing I'd ever considered doing this, like a sin of what is it? Like it's not complacent, like you know what you're doing.
yeah,
And I told God, "I'm really sorry. I just can't resist this anymore, and stop me if you can." And
yeah.
that was my prayer, and He did. He
Come
stopped me,
on.
but I knew that if I tried again, He wouldn't stop me.
Okay.
But it was enough to kind of
I
get me my
think
sanity back so that
I
I
think
could.
we can resonate with what you're saying in some form or fashion. I think several of us have been there and we can resonate with that. So you're
Yeah.
not alone in that kind of
Yeah.
story. But I have more questions.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm a deliverance minister, and it sounds like your friends came in and worked deliverance through you. And
Yes.
and so you said it was an ancestor. I don't usually use that word. So I want to make it really clear to my audience what you're really saying. You're saying you maybe I'll give you a chance to give you more words to
Yeah.
help us.
I'll explain. If you turn to God and you learn how to refute what Satan is doing, and you're stronger for it. I mean, I became more knowledgeable, more understanding. I could use this understanding that holy cow, I can use spiritual warfare to fight this.
Uh-huh.
And it's not as hard as I thought. I was fighting so much for so long. It was so hard. And then I learned how to pray for the right things, ask the right questions.
Yeah. So
And
that's what we
then
want to talk
suddenly it
about
opens
today.
the whole world up to you. You're like, oh, wow, there's this other side that I never considered that
That's
we
it.
often don't get in church.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We really don't. And so that's why I'm so passionate about helping people heal with God and specifically through deliverance, spiritual warfare, and understanding it's not just your personality. You're not just angry. There's actually spiritual stuff going on that's
Yeah.
making you feel that way.
It's not you. It's
Uh,
just a manifestation of what's going on inside of you, but it's not you.
yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that was the biggest breakthrough in my confidence and hope is that
Uh-huh.
I was almost afraid that if I healed, that I would find that, oh, I'm really not that great. I'm still these things, like on the other side of it. I really hate myself still. I don't like the
Mhm.
version. And it's totally not that at all. I think every person, if you saw who you really were on the other side, you would not be not only not disappointed, but thrilled with who you are and
Mhm.
what God gave you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just this how amazing you are and how amazing I feel now and the joy I have in just being me and who I am and myself. I never in a million years would have thought that back then.
So we're
I never
talking
saw
about
that as possible.
yeah. So we're talking about discernment, and it's really important how to discern what's God saying. Is this you? Is this a spiritual warfare? But also it could be your body, right? It could be your body
Right.
playing tricks with you because you didn't get enough sleep. It could be your body messing with you because your hormones are a little bit going
Yeah.
crazy or something like that. So I'm wondering if you do you I know we just want to hear God's voice, but what's some body triggers that you've noticed that's you've seen in depressed believers?
Mm.
Like,
Oh, sleep, 100%. Like that's it. Big, 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 big one. We're overworked, underpaid, and just
yeah,
exhausted. And if I'm not getting enough sleep, I mean, I start to falter fast. I'm not a very patient person when I'm sleep deprived. That
yeah, me
has
too.
to be happening for me. I have to be getting sleep and good sleep and adequate sleep. So when we can't, because there are times when that's just the reality of our situation, prayer is absolute key. Please,
Yeah,
please fill me with thy light, thy love, thy energy. Make my energy today as if I'd gotten 9 hours instead of three.
sure.
And you can access that power to sustain you through those times, no
Yeah,
matter how long they are. But you have to be willing to pray and ask for that help.
yeah,
But absolutely sleep. When we don't sleep, literally our armor of God shuts off. the light starts to go out and we become very vulnerable to attack.
Yeah,
That's
that's
just
what I was
that's
gonna
just the way I
say.
see it.
I'm very careful whenever I have lack of sleep. I'm like, I need to just not talk right now because I
Yeah,
think the enemy could use my mouth really easily.
yeah,
You can get really irritable quickly. It's just like you said, the armor's like it's
yeah.
got so many
There's lots of
cracks in it
chinks.
when you haven't slept. Mhm. It's
And
very
I think that's also why we're encouraged to pray morning and night. And in the morning, I always thank God, no matter how much sleep I got, for my rejuvenating sleep. Like,
mhm.
thank you for the sleep that I got
Yeah, yeah,
and for sustaining me through this day.
very good.
And gratitude prayers, I'm really big on that. I even ask my requests in the form of a thank you for this thing that you're going to give me before I even receive it.
Yeah,
Like thank you for blessing this day. Thank you for helping me to be patient.
yeah,
Even before it happens, or
because you know
thank you
it's his
for
will,
providing the home that I've been looking for. I'm looking for a house. Thank you for providing that home, even though I haven't found it yet. It could be
right?
something like that.
Right. You know it's his will. It's not just random. It
No.
is his will. You know it's his will. It's in his timing, but
Hmm.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So I'm wondering, okay, so we're talking about like there's actually physical things that can be happening, but
Yeah.
those physical things could also block your healing too.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think people underestimate the power of chemicals in on our planet in every form, whether it's processed food, uh, meat, the stuff they're spraying in the sky, our bedding, the chemicals we clean with, the chemicals in the paint that we paint our houses with, or all of it. Like those things we spray on the grass, or the pesticides, the herbicides, it affects us. The clothes that we wear, even. And so the less, because if you think of a chemical, it causes chemical reactions. It's going to cause chemical reactions in us, and it's going to inevitably lead to more imbalance.
Mm,
And so the more that you can eat pure, buy things that are pure, be more, I think a minimalistic lifestyle helps with that because you're buying less but buying more quality, things that are natural, or trading with people who are really into that. I do goat milk. I have dairy goats, and so sometimes I'll trade my milk for soap, something else,
right.
things like that, or even babysitting. But it's a very good way I can get that milk in a pure form and make probiotic with it, which helps depression, by the way. Kefir, it's like a third of my diet.
Yeah.
I love it, and it really makes me feel good. Food is huge. If
Yeah.
we're not getting enough omega-3s specifically, your brain cannot function. And we went through this fat-free craze when my mom was raising me, where this was the way to go. Depression skyrocketed. If you think that nuts are going to make you fat, just stop thinking that way. I
Yeah.
don't know how else
Yeah.
to say it.
Yeah.
You've got to have fat for your brain to function
Yeah.
optimally. I eat
Yeah.
a lot of fat in my diet: avocados, nuts, whole milk, fish oils, olive oil, like good quality oils too. It can't
Right.
be just something like the cheap stuff you buy at the store. It's more like a plastic. And if you're filling your body with omega-6s and plasticized oils, your brain's going to revolt. It can't function and help you to heal. And
Yeah.
when your brain is out of whack, it's really hard to feel the spirit too. And I've even had some of my friends, my friend in particular that helped me through that time, she told me one time that even taking a Tylenol, and she was very, very close to the other side, would inhibit her ability to feel and understand and discern and get the answers, even just a Tylenol.
Mm.
So if
Yeah.
something numbs your mood or your pain, it also numbs your spirit. And
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
just something to really, really keep in
To
mind. And
really
that's not to
consider.
say run off and get off your
Right.
medication today,
No.
but maybe make a plan or ask the Lord to help you to move forward and lessening it at least,
Mhm.
and getting rid of anything that isn't necessary. And we're talking like everything that I talked about. It's not
Right.
just pharmaceuticals.
Right, right, right.
But but with that said, I just want to poke this in there because it's not something I ever thought about until I thought about it. But pharmakia in the scriptures is the word that was translated into sorcery. And if you think about how our society works, and it talks about in the scriptures to be careful of sorcery in the last days, like who's going to be like, oh, I really love this magician. Most people aren't running to magicians and sorcerers and asking
Right.
them to soothsayers, asking them to heal them, but we are running to our doctors and say, "Give me that magic pill that'll heal me,"
Yeah, that's
or
true.
that surgery, and it costs a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of a key factor in sorcery is usually they're asking you for money in exchange for healing, right?
Mm.
And not to say that all doctors and all treatments are bad, but just the principle of who are you going to first
Yeah.
to ask for your healing? Is it God and then
Right.
asking him for direction and who you should go to and what you should do? Or is it go to the doctor and then get the options and then pray to God about the options? Because if he's giving you these options and you're not opening up to maybe God's way that could be completely different,
Yeah.
he'll probably answer that prayer and say, "Well, this is the least damaging one.
Yeah.
This is the one that," but because that's all the options you're giving him.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
saying, "What do I do?
Yeah.
This, or this?" And he'll be
Yeah.
like, well, if you're not gonna ask me anything else, well, then this one."
Yeah.
And then people will say, "Well, that was my answer to prayer." Maybe, yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's better to go to God first and trust that he can lead you or guide you or inspire you
Mhm.
and things that will just come your way, and then you can recognize when they show up.
Yeah. And
At least that's how it
specifically
happens for me.
yeah, yeah. No, no, I totally get it. Well, I'm thinking, okay, so today we're talking about discerning just different body triggers, things that are going on in your mind. And maybe you're saying, I feel depressed. And we're saying, what's going on in your body? What are you putting in your body? What are you doing with your body? And what have you been praying to discern, God, okay, I'm feeling this. And what should I do about it? What,
Mhm.
what do you have a specific prayer or a go-to discernment mode where you start asking God whenever you have symptoms in your life to get down to the root of it?
There's quite a few. I mean, I kinda like, which one do I need today? I'll ask the Lord, "Is it
Sure.
emotion?" And I'll just get the feeling like that's where it is. Wow, okay, yeah, that totally makes sense, and sometimes it's like, "Really? Oh, that's weird," and then I'll start doing more research and later realize that, yeah, that was absolutely the problem.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and then
There's a
I'll
lot of
pray for
tools and
that.
resources like that. I totally get it.
Yeah,
But
and then I'll pray for the Lord to help me to know how to pray for this to be remedied, whatever that is, if it's to just go away or if there's other things attached to this that need to be reconciled first.
mhm, very good. I get it. There's a few different books that I have that are like that. Oh, Dr. Henry Wright has it's a Christian book with lots of different symptoms and sicknesses and diseases and the roots to them. But
Mhm.
what's funny is some of them I'll look it up and it just says this is a demon. Like this is not
That's not
helpful.
helping me.
Oh, I remember thinking I remember seeing that one time or maybe a few times, and I was like, "This is not helpful." I don't even know, like, what's the demon's name? Like, what do I
Yeah.
call it? How why did it come in? How and I totally get what he's saying. Like, this is a spiritual thing, though. He's saying this is not just necessarily something you ate or drank. This is something that you need to deal with spiritually, is what he has discerned. So
Mhm.
I totally get that, and
Yeah,
I
and
love
I
that we have
honestly
these
don't
resources.
think that there's any bodily issue that isn't spiritually rooted. That
Yeah.
is my personal opinion. I
No, I
think they're
get I
all coming from some spiritual place.
no, I get it. I mean, the only okay, so the only time that it's not, I mean, it could be still, I guess, but I'm like, okay, I jumped on the trampoline and I fell down wrong and my ankle got twisted.
Oh,
Okay,
to
that's
me,
a
that's
physical
a
issue.
message as well. It's like, what is this trying to tell me today? It could be like, slow down. Or maybe if it's weak ankles, what are weak ankles saying about me right now that I need to fortify?
Yeah,
I mean, it could be I stubbed my toe, and that's I immediately start praying. If I hurt myself, I immediately ask the Lord to close portals that were opened because it's a trauma, and I don't want anything to make it worse or get in and start affecting my system. And then I would ask, what is this trying to tell me? Like, what are
yeah,
you trying to tell me, Lord? Why did
yeah,
we just stub my toe? Am I not following you? Because sometimes feet have, like, do I need to change directions? Am I going the
yeah.
wrong way?
It could be
Um,
any of those things. I totally get what you're saying, that we just need to ask the Lord and discern. It that's kind of my whole thing is what is God saying, right? So, Jennifer, I just say thank you for joining us today. Thank you for this lovely conversation. And how can our listeners get to know you more?
I have a website, overcomedepressionpodcast.com. I do have a newsletter that's kind of on sabbatical right now because of my new baby. So I'm trying to release a podcast every other week at the moment. I was doing weekly, but overcomedepressionpodcast.com, you can find the podcast there, which is Overcome Depression for Christians Struggling with Faith. And if you want to start at the beginning and move your way forward, I think that's honestly the best way to go, because I kind of built it like a system to
Mhm.
kind of wean people into understanding the concepts and making goals for themselves and seeing things a little differently. Because really, the foundation of all depression or mental disorder, period, is belief in lies. The lies that Satan has taught us from the time we were a small child.
Yeah.
He didn't waste any time because we were a kid and being like, oh, I'll just wait. They're just a child. No. Like
Yeah.
we have, and probably, and I hope this gives you hope like it did for me when I finally understood the scripture about weakness and how weaknesses can make us humble, is that the weaknesses you have are probably strengths you had before you came here. And Satan was so aware of you and what you could do to damage him that he convinced you that your strengths were a weakness.
Mm.
You can't utilize them properly if you believe you stink at it.
Mm.
And so if you can overcome that thing that you think is your weakness, you can start fighting Satan like like you've never before, like even stronger than you were before. But
Mhm.
that should be a telltale sign to you that if you're depressed and angry, that you are joyful and that you have an amazing heart that loves other people and can bring people together. And
Yeah.
like that's who you are. And that's what Satan doesn't want you to know. And if you're thinking, well, no, not me, just please take my word for it until you figure it out. You've got to believe and have this hope before he can start to help you, because if not, you're just pushing him away.
Mhm.
So stop pushing him away.
Come on. Thank you so much for that encouragement. Thank you for bringing clarity and compassion to this topic. Christians with depression. It seems like an oxymoron, but it's actually a thing, and we want to help you. We know that there is hope on the other side, and I know there's listeners that are going to feel some relief, and you're realizing, oh, I'm not crazy. Oh, I'm not failing God, or maybe you just need discernment and a plan, and you're actually excited that that is it. That's it. That really
Yeah.
is it. Just get some discernment and a plan from God, and He will show you the next step to take.
Yeah.
So,
There's
friend,
nothing you have done or haven't done that can keep you from his grace.
come on.
Don't let guilt and shame like ruin your future. You have so much left you can give.
Right. Yeah. That's a thank you for that encouragement. Friend, if this episode hit you right between the ribs and you know that you might need some support, you're curious, you're ready for the next step. Well, listen, I have a free prophetic healing workshop every third Monday of the month. I would love to invite you to that. We go through a 3-step prayer method to get down to the root of what's bothering you, what that struggle is. Maybe it's depression, anxiety, whatever the struggle is. We can get down to the root of it by hearing God's voice. And I'd love to invite you there. It's a safe space where you can hear God's voice. Go to heatherobrien.net/workshop and you can sign up today. I'm praying that you keep hearing God clearly, healing deeply, and walking
You.
in the resurrection power of Jesus Christ. Phew, that was a whole word, wasn't it? Thanks for spending this time with me on Heal with God. Just a reminder, I'm a licensed minister, not a licensed therapist. So this is all about spiritual encouragement and prayer, not replacing your doctor's advice. And if you haven't already, I want you to go grab your spot for the next free live workshop at heatherobrien.net/workshop. I'll walk you through my 3-step spirit-led process to hear God and heal what's really going on. Until next time, I'm praying blessings and favor chase you down.
If you are new to this podcast, please go watch all of the hashtag introduction videos first, and then consider downloading the Overcome Depression workbook. Links in the description. The content in this podcast is based on my own personal beliefs, is for informational purposes only, and is not intended to substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please refer to the full legal disclaimer in the description.